Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 3 In Depth. In today's episode, I'm going to be reviewing the VMP submachine gun. This is the most popular SMG in all of Black Ops 3 right now. I see this online more than any SMG. I see more pros using this. I see this in more streams. I see the VMP all over the place. So we're going to talk about why it's so popular, why people like it, and a variety of other things. But first, let's talk about the damage. It'll deal 30 damage up close, 23 damage at medium range, and 19 damage at a distance. Of the possible 5 damage ranges in Black Ops 3, this one only utilizes 3 of them, so what that means is it's going to take between 4 and 6 shots to kill, depending on how far away you are from the enemy, and most of the time it's going to take 5 shots, for a couple of reasons. Number one is because the range. The 4-shot kill range is 13 meters, which actually isn't that bad for a submachine gun. Usually their close range drop-off, their max kill potential is a little bit closer than that, but it does okay killing in 4 shots at all the way out to 13 meters, and the 5-shot range is pretty average at 25 meters. That's going to be the maximum effective range. So why would I say it takes 5 shots to kill usually when you have a 4-shot kill range that's so good? Well, it's because it shoots so dadgum fast, you're missing a shot, or 2 or 3 sometimes, but that is okay. The headshot multiplier is 1.1x, which means you'll deal 10% bonus damage for headshots. That means that headshots are useful at medium and long ranges, because at 23 damage for your medium range, 1.1 will bump that up to 25 and make it a 4-shot kill again. And since long ranges is 19 damage, that'll put that above 20, and therefore you can kill in 5 shots again instead of 6. They're not useful at all up close. Up close headshots make no difference whatsoever, but long range headshots do indeed make a difference. Speaking of rate of fire and accuracy and missing and all of that, the rate of fire is quite fast, a little bit on the high side at 900 rounds per minute. To put this in perspective of something you might understand, that is exactly the same as the Black Ops 2 MP7. It's one of the more common rates of fire, same thing as the Vector as well. So it dumps out bullets pretty quickly. Thankfully, we have a 40-round magazine, which helps compensate for that, and we can go up to 60 rounds if you want to run extended mags, so that's quite good and makes me happy. Let's talk about the raw time to kill now. So we have the damage, we have the rate of fire. When you calculate the raw time to kill, it's lower than most other submachine guns at most other ranges. Like, there's a few little niche ranges where, yeah, this is the best gun or whatever, but overall, the raw time to kill is too slow for it to be super competitive just in that area. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad weapon at all, because it is a very, very forgiving weapon to use because of the high rate of fire, because of the magazine capacity, because of the accuracy, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Missing a couple of shots or having a slightly lower time to kill doesn't really matter, and it has 2 really nice handling statistics that will increase your time to kill in some, not increase, my bad, lower, which is better, your time to kill in certain scenarios, which we'll be talking about later on. In the handling, it has unique aim down sights and hip fire mechanics. I find that the iron sights on this weapon are good, but optics are okay too. They're good, but they're not excellent. Like, they're 8 out of 10, they're a 7.5. They're not a perfect 10 out of 10. I do occasionally get a little bit distracted with them. They are a little bit busy, and it does sometimes kick up, and the bottom can block out some enemies if you lose track of them. It's really not an issue except at long ranges, but at long ranges you shouldn't be using the VMP anyway, so I'm not sure why it would make such a big difference. But if you like a red dot sight, I don't think the red dot sight is a wasted attachment, or the BOA, or the Varix, or the Recon, or the ELO, or pretty much any kind of optics you want to run. Whatever you're comfortable with, they'll be totally fine on this weapon, and it has acceptable SMG accuracy. Most of the recoil is vertical, which is good for SMGs. You can go back to the foregrip episode if you want and see the damage profile and all that kind of stuff. It's not the lowest recoil SMG, definitely not the highest. I do find it a little difficult to control sometimes, but I can kind of put a grip on it, or get a grip on it, so to speak. I was trying to make a pun. I'm kind of terrible at that, though. But I strongly prefer to use the foregrip on the VMP. It's only a 7.5% reduction on kick, which isn't the biggest thing, but it helps me, I don't know, get a good feel for it. It makes it easier to control. That's the word I'm looking for. It doesn't feel like it makes it kick less. It just makes it feel like it's easier to control while it's kicking. I can get my shots on target easier, and I guess that's the important thing about the foregrip. As long as it works for you, as long as you're feeling it, that's probably the most important thing. But now let's talk about some of those special stats. Some of those stats where the VMP really shines and is different than the other submachine guns. The hip fire spread is slightly tighter than other submachine guns, which is kind of unique. Usually all the weapons in the same class will have the same handling statistics and all that kind of stuff. That is not the case at all in Black Ops 3. They have some very unique ones, and this one is unique in that its hip fire spread is a little bit tighter, and it's tighter in all areas. It's tighter both in its maximum and its minimum, while running, while standing, while shooting, while all these kind of things. It's just a little bit better than the other submachine guns, which is nice, and I think that makes it an excellent candidate for laser sight. If you want to hip fire with an SMG, this is a very good one to hip fire with. It's got good damage, good fire rate, time to kill is good enough, more or less, and with the increased, tighter accuracy, you put a laser sight on there and you can be very effective just hip firing the weapon, so I think that's a good thing. The other thing it has going for it is that it has the fastest aim down sight time in its class at 183 milliseconds, or it's basically a frame and some change less than the other submachine guns, but it's still the fastest in the class. Some of these actually will aim down sight significantly slower, but so you can kind of snap ADS really, really fast. I like to stack this with quick draw grip. That's going to be on one of my recommended classes, because you can cut this down to like 100 milliseconds, like super, super fast target acquisition. And I think that's one of the reasons that maybe some of the more competitive players like this weapon, just how quickly they can aim down sights and make it work for them. So yeah, that's a good thing, and of course, since most people aim down sights before they're shooting, that'll shave a little bit of time off of your time to kill and make it more competitive in time to kill as well. Reload time is 1.8 seconds, which is very fast. It's actually tied with the Kuda. Most of the submachine guns reload quite fast, but this one is, again, in the faster category of reloads, so you shouldn't have an issue with there. You shouldn't need fast mags, but you can run them if you want to. Like most of the other submachine guns and assault rifles, it has medium wall penetration factor. Because the damage isn't super high at long ranges, it might not be the greatest for wall banging, but you definitely can wall bang people with it and corner clip them if you want to. As for how I feel about the VMP, the more subjective part of this episode, I do feel that the overall time to kill is quite weak, which is how I judge a lot of weapons here on In Depth, but the VMP is easy to use. It's very forgiving, the recoil is easy to work with, the magazine is huge, the rate of fire is good, the hip fire is good, the aim down sights time is good. All these other little factors help make the VMP a much better weapon than the raw time to kill empirical numbers would indicate, and it works well with almost any attachment, which is not something that I would say of most weapons in the game, which makes it a very versatile submachine gun. This is a very general submachine gun that you can kind of build and craft into whatever weapon that you want, and it performs quite differently based on the attachments that you put on it as well. However, there are some attachments that I feel stand out more strongly than others. I feel that the quick draw grip is a fantastic one because that reduces the aim down sights time even further, so you get like one of the fastest ADSing weapons in the entire game and you can really snap target. That's really good. I feel that the foregrip is also an excellent attachment because for me, just for my personal taste and opinions, it kicks a little bit too much, just a little bit too high, a little frustrating, whatever. Foregrip helps make it more controllable. So my first recommended class setup is we stack these two together. We have a quick draw grip and we have a foregrip, so we can aim down sights really fast and be really accurate and it be a really good gun. The next one is a little bit kind of in the opposite direction. Suppressor works okay on the VMP. I tend not to run a lot of suppressed SMGs in Black Ops 3, but for this particular weapon, it works okay and it still usually kills in 5 shots. It doesn't nuke the range too bad. It doesn't do anything funny with it. And if you want to put a laser sight on it, you can do the kind of tactic where you rush really hard and get up in people's faces and spray them down and hose them and kind of that. It works pretty good for me. That's another recommended class setup, and that is all for this episode. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. The previous episode was on the Kuda submachine gun, and the next episode is going to be on the Weevil submachine gun. Drifter out.